Hey, I'm Transformers fan G138, and this is a video review of Blurr. Yeah, I'm tired and I'm trying to be creative. Yeah, not a great combination. But anyway, so he's got a lower spoiler than Drift does, and his windows are a little bit easier to see through, being black instead of blue. Anyway, he does not look like the same car Drift is, and I'm saying Drift a lot, so yeah, I really like that figure. If you watched that review, then you would understand. So, really nice mold. I like it. You know, instead of a sword on the bottom, he's got this giant sniper rifle. Wow, I can't talk tonight either. Oh well. So, I like the different shades of blues he has on here, and this white isn't quite white, it's more like a cream color, and that's kind of nifty. Although, I'm kind of a fan of the Japanese paint job of this, which I don't have, but it's like a metallic blue, it's sharp. I like it. I probably won't ever find one, but anyway. If you're seeing any detail in this video, which by the time it re-renders and gets shot into YouTube, you probably won't, but it's got marks all over it, scratches and whatnot. This paint is like rubbing it, just it's not a ding on the quality of paint they used or even the paint job, but it's just this particular one. It came in with an enormous yellow mark, and I don't even know where the yellow came from. Just a yellow mark on this guy. He came in with a black scratch across the hood and just like dinged up, and this was in box, like in the actual legit package, and that kind of like was like, really? And I ended up calling the retailer, and the retailer said, what condition is the box in? Perfect. Okay, we only guarantee the box, you need to call the manufacturer. So I called Hasbro, and unfortunately, because it's in an assortment, they pick one out of the assortment at random to send back to me, which means it was either this, Thrust, or any of the others that I got. Oh, might have been Dirge. Yeah, it was Dirge, because Thrust came with Drift's Wave. Anyway, it was either this, Dirge, or somebody else. And I already had the somebody else and the other one. So, realistically, that wasn't too much of an option. So I said, well, I'll keep it and hope I find one at retail. And I did, eventually. So, this is the packaged perfect condition one, I might add. He's got no scratches or dents on him. So, I decided to keep him in package with the rest of my duplicates. So, I have a display and stop-motion version. And I have one for, you know, package display, which is kind of dusty. I still have to dust in these cracks here, but it's been on top of my shelf for like ever. Anyway, so I'll take you through the package. You know, it's got his name, sniper rifle. You don't see the two smaller weapons because they're actually stored within the figure, which is kind of weird because Drift's swords were not. You know, he's got his bio, picture, dual laser blasters, weapon storage and hip holsters, blaster folds into bipod, which is cool. I'll show that off. His tech specs, which I really don't pay attention with, and his courier mode, which is basically car mode. Basically says he's very fast-paced, but yeah, he can stare down a scope of a blaster. This is heavily based on the IDW version. I don't know why they really did the IDW stuff recently. I think it's kind of cool. I like some of the IDW stuff, but others, not so much. So, I'm going to go ahead and get this guy in robot mode and check him out. Check out his weapons, his holsters, and figure it out from there. And so here the Speedy Autobot is in robot mode. And just like Drift, he is awesome. Although, side by side with Drift, yeah, he looks similar, but he does not scream Drift. He screams very Blurr for me. I mean, some people say he's too close to Drift, I don't like it, yada yada yada. I don't mind him. I think he looks very much like Blurr. The only way he looks so different, in my opinion. I mean, yeah, that's just my opinion. Yeah, they look similar, and to avoid any confusion in my collection at all, I placed one action figure in between them recently. So, anyway, that beside, what's awesome with this guy is just like Drift, he's got holsters. And, well, Drift has scabbards where this guy has holsters. Right? Which stores his dual blasters, which fits his personality pretty well. You know, fast, thin blasters. They work for Drift. Or Blurr, sorry, wow. Blurr, small blasters work, yes. Okay, so, yeah, he's nice. He's got some paint apps here, you know, Autobot symbol here. This is why I keep him in this mode for display, and I don't see the issues that I do in vehicle mode nearly as much, so it works on my shelf a lot better than, you know, I was making out to be in vehicle mode earlier. But this is fine. These look like molded vents up here on his arm, but they're not. They're actually painted vents. And I think that is just kind of cool the way they did that, where where Drift has Autobot symbols and stuff. So just for a simple comparison here, let's grab this one. So Drift's sword will not fit in Blurr's scabbard, or Blurr's holster. And Blurr's gun will not fit in Drift's sheath. There's actually a slightly different piece of plastic that goes on the inside of the door. This one's thicker and includes a cutout for the gun, where this one's thinner and is designed specifically for the sword. Which is why on the Shattered Glass version of Drift, the guns he comes with does not fit in his sheaths. So, now, back to Blurr. He, like Drift, does not have the mobility in the feet. He's got a little bit, but not a lot. But he more than makes up for it with the size. You can get him in some nice poses with his guns and stuff. So, that's nice. His hinge, he's got a hinge back here for his holster, so it's got some movement if you want to keep the sniper rifle in the back, or give the sniper rifle to some other transformer that actually uses a sniper rifle more often than not. He's got a nice hinge here, swivel, ball and socket joint, hinge, ball and socket joint, hinge, swivel, double jointed, double hinged elbow, ball and socket joint wrist. You know, you got the gangster Blurr. Yeah, yeah, what's going on? Yeah, no, right? So, anyway, that aside, there's another poor attempt at me trying to be funny, but whatever. At least I'm not dropping the camera like I did in the Astro Train video. Although it's teetering on the edge here, so let's hope I don't drop it. You know, he's got the same hinge and swivel as Drift does for the neck, so no ball and socket joint there. You know, these are on a hinge and ball and socket joint, so they got some nice motion in themselves. So, the sniper rifle. This is a cool story. So, fits in his hand, and it's molded to go right around his Gundam-like arms. Yeah, they look like Gundam arms to me. Then there's the second handle that slips into this hand, so he can aim. You can actually have him, if you are very careful positioning him, you can actually have him looking through the scope, although his wheel gets in the way. And it's kind of hard to get it there, but you can have him looking through the scope. Where a lot of people online said, no, he can't look through the scope. Yeah, it's pointless. Through the tripod mode, yeah, it's kind of pointless, because he can't look through the scope because his head doesn't turn that far. And while we're talking about the bipod thing, I don't know why people confuse bipods and tripods, but I do. Each gun, this is where my Shattered Glass Drift falters, because he has two of the same gun. But these have different angles, and one fits here, and the other one fits here. They go along the barrel and turn into a bipod. And I just did that upside down. Yeah, everybody can clap now. I did something stupid. Woo! Okay. So that's that. You can put this in his hand. It's kind of a useless bipod. It's kind of neat. You can, however, flip these around, and so now he's got extra cannons on the end of his gun, a bipod gun. Now that looks cool. Now, if you hold this up straight, you'll notice that the entire gun is not straight. And at first, one might think, oh, that's just because it got warm and it bent. No, it's actually designed that way. So when you clip it onto the bottom of the car, if you clip it this way, it'll drag. If you click it this way, it won't drag. It's so low to the ground to begin with, they needed to make sure this part was not going to drag. And it's something they did not have to do, and it's very subtle. Looking at it, you would have to be looking for it to notice it. I just notice random things like this all the time, so that's the story behind that. Yep. So he's got some awesome accessories. Really like this guy almost as much as I like Drift. Now, if you're a fan of animated Blur and you want to give him a different look than Drift, you can kind of get the animated look a little bit. I hate animated with a passion, so if you just do this, so I believe they did this for their Cheetor Blur thing they were thinking about doing at one point, but anyway, you can get that look. I mean, it's not as nearly as cool or accurate. I don't like it, but you can kind of get that animated feel for it if you wanted to. It's something I noticed. I don't particularly like it. So these were kind of like jet turbines in IDW that allowed them to run even faster. So I think that's cool that they actually figured out, hey, look, we can use the drift mold for this. And it worked pretty well. They remolded the head and stuff. So until I got this guy, I was using the Cybertron Blur as a stand-in, and that really wasn't that great. So that's the story. I think I talked a little bit too much about this guy and a little bit too much about Drift in this review, but yeah, sorry about that. So that concludes my video review of Transformers Generations Blur, and highly recommend it. So, if you have any further requests for video reviews, please post a comment down below, and I will do the review. If you ask if I have a figure, if you don't see it in my collection video, I might actually have it, it's just not on display. I'll let you know if I have it or not. Well, I hope you enjoyed, and thanks for watching.